The alien mistress was a figure of fear and mystery. She was powerful, rich, and dangerous. Her name was whispered across planets. Some called her a queen, some called her a warlord. Nobody knew how many treasures she truly owned, but all agreed that her vaults were filled with wealth beyond imagination. Her treasures were not only gold or jewels. They were ancient weapons from dead empires, crystals that could power starships, and relics said to control minds. Entire civilizations could rise or fall if one of her treasures was stolen. That was why the alien mistress trusted no one. At least, that was what people thought. Then she did something strange. She hired a human, a simple human bodyguard. Other aliens laughed when they heard this. Why would such a mighty mistress hire a weak creature from Earth? Humans were known as survivors, but they were not the strongest, not the smartest, not the fastest. The other alien guards whispered among themselves. They said the human would betray her. They said he would run the moment he saw real danger, but the mistress saw something in him that others did not. His name was Marcus. He had fought in wars, not for glory, but for duty. He had seen friends die and yet still stood tall. He was quiet, loyal, and steady. When others looked at him, they saw an ordinary man. When the mistress looked at him, she saw something different. Still, she was not a creature who gave her trust easily. She decided to test him, to see if his loyalty was real or just words. One evening, she ordered her other guards away from the main treasure hall. The hall was vast, its ceiling high and glowing with alien lights. Pillars of black stone stood like silent giants. In the center, on wide-open tables, lay her treasures, golden crowns, silver blades, glowing crystals, and more. Usually, these treasures were locked behind strong shields, guarded by machines and soldiers. But tonight they were left in the open, unguarded, unprotected. Marcus was placed at the entrance. Only he would stand watch tonight. The alien mistress told him she had business far away. She pretended to leave the planet. But, in truth, she hid behind a secret wall. From there, she could watch everything. The test had begun. The human stood tall at his post, his eyes scanning the hall. At first, everything was quiet. The treasures glittered under the light, shining like stars trapped in metal and stone. The hall smelled of strange perfumes like flowers mixed with burning metal. It was a place that could drive greed into the heart of any being. The mistress leaned forward in her hidden chamber, watching closely. She wanted to see what he would do. Would he walk inside, touch the treasures, steal a crystal or two? Or would he resist the temptation? Minutes passed. The human did not move. He stood still like a statue, his face calm, his hands resting on his weapon. But then, the light caught one of the crowns. It was made of pure gold and rare alien gems. The gems glowed softly, almost whispering to anyone who looked at them. Marcus's eyes shifted. He noticed the crown. He took a slow step forward. The mistress smiled coldly from her hiding place. This was the moment she had been waiting for. The human was finally showing his greed. Marcus walked closer to the table. His boots echoed softly against the stone floor. The crown shimmered more brightly, as if calling out to him. His hand twitched at his side. The mistress's heart beat, faster. Not out of fear, but out of curiosity. Would he fail so soon? Marcus stopped in front of the table. The treasures were right there. All he had to do was reach out, take one piece, and he would be rich forever. Even a single gem could buy him a kingdom. Even a single blade could make him the ruler of soldiers. His hand slowly rose. His fingers stretched toward the golden crown. The alien mistress leaned so close to the wall that her breath fogged against the hidden glass. She was ready to see the truth. But Marcus paused. His hand trembled in the air, his eyes narrowed. He looked at the treasures again, then lowered his hand. Instead of taking anything, he turned his back to the table. He walked back to the entrance and stood at his post again. His shoulders were steady, his eyes sharp. The mistress frowned. Her eyes glowed in the dark. Was it a trick? Was he waiting for her to leave completely before he stole something? Hours passed. Still the human did not move. He guarded the treasures as if they were his own. But the night was not over, and the true test had only just begun. The great treasure hall was silent. The glowing crystals pulsed softly, filling the room with strange light. Each jewel and relic seemed alive, whispering secrets to anyone who dared to listen. Marcus stood guard at the entrance, his body firm, and his eyes sharp. Yet even the strongest heart could not ignore such beauty forever. The alien mistress watched from her hidden chamber, her sharp eyes never leaving the human's form. She had seen him walk near the crown. She had seen his hand rise, almost touching. She had felt victory coming. She believed the human would betray her like all others. But then, to her surprise, he turned back to his post. He resisted, he stayed loyal. Still, temptation is like fire. It never dies in one moment. It burns again and again. It whispers in the dark. The mistress knew this. She had studied countless beings. She understood that greed grows slowly, waiting for the right time. That was why she did not stop watching. Marcus tried to keep his focus. He told himself to stay, still, to guard as ordered. But his mind was restless. Every time he looked at the treasures, new thoughts entered his head. He imagined the silver blade that could cut through starship armor. He imagined holding it. He imagined the fear it would bring to enemies. His chest grew heavy. He tried to breathe slowly, but the treasures seemed to glow brighter. They pulled his eyes like magnets. His hand touched the hilt of his own weapon, but his weapon felt weak, small, meaningless compared to the alien relics before him. He shook his head, trying to break free. He thought of his oath. He thought of why he was chosen. Humans were mocked across the galaxy, but here he was, standing. As the only guard to the most powerful mistress, he could not fail, but the voice of temptation grew louder. What if he took just one gem? Nobody would know. The mistress had left the planet. The hall was empty. He could hide it in his armor, escape later, and return to Earth as the richest man alive. Marcus clenched his fists, his teeth pressed together. He turned his back fully, on the treasure table, staring hard at the dark entrance beyond. He told himself he was stronger than greed. He told himself honor was greater than wealth, yet the hall itself betrayed him. The crystals pulsed brighter. The jewels shimmered as if alive. The gold reflected shapes on the walls. In the silence, he thought he heard whispers. They were soft, like voices calling his name. His heart pounded. His mind grew clouded. The alien mistress smiled coldly in her hiding place. Her test was working. She had chosen these treasures for a reason. They were not normal objects. Some of them carried strange energy. Some of them were designed to break weak minds. She wanted to see if the human could endure. Marcus stepped forward again. Slowly, carefully, his eyes locked on a glowing crystal at the center table. It was blue, but inside it, small sparks danced. Like lightning, he felt its power from across the room. He imagined what it could do. He imagined holding it, commanding it. He imagined worlds kneeling before him. His feet moved without his order. His hand lifted again. The crystal glowed brighter as he came closer, as if calling him by name. The mistress leaned closer to her hidden wall. Her claws tapped the stone slowly. Her eyes glowed with dark excitement. This was the breaking point. Would the human give in? Marcus stood before the crystal. His reflection shimmered on its surface. His hand hovered inches away. His breath grew heavy. Sweat touched his forehead. Then something stirred inside him. A memory. A voice. A moment from his past. He remembered the battlefield, the screams of soldiers, the friends who died beside him. He remembered one friend's words before death. "Do not break your oath, Marcus. A soldier's word is his last treasure." Marcus froze. His hand trembled, his eyes widened. Slowly, painfully, he pulled his hand back. He stepped away from the crystal. His fists clenched. He forced himself to return to his post. The alien mistress narrowed her eyes. She had not expected this. The human had resisted again. She felt both anger and curiosity. Could it be that his loyalty was real, or was he playing a long game? The hall grew quiet once more. Marcus stood like stone, but the battle in his heart was not over. Temptation had touched him deeply. It had shown him visions, and visions are hard to erase. The alien mistress smiled. Again, she knew the night was long and she was not finished. A true test always came with more than one trial. As Marcus stood tall, the silence was suddenly broken. A faint sound echoed through the dark entrance. It was soft, like footsteps. Slow and careful, Marcus turned his head sharply. His hand gripped his weapon. His heart raced. The mistress leaned forward, her eyes gleamed. This was not part of the illusion. This was real. From the shadows beyond the hall, figures began to move. Silent shapes, armed and dangerous. They had come for the treasures, and Marcus was the only guard standing in their way. The treasure hall was no longer silent. Shadows moved at the far end of the chamber. Their steps were soft, but Marcus heard them clearly. His ears caught every faint sound, his heart pounded. He tightened his grip on his weapon. The alien mistress, hidden behind the wall, watched with sharp eyes. She had planned temptation, but not this. These were not illusions. They were real intruders. Real danger. For a moment, even she was curious. Would the human run? Or would he stand? Marcus stepped forward slowly. His boots echoed against the stone floor. The hall lights reflected off his armor. The treasures behind him glowed, as if daring the intruders to come closer. From the shadows, 3 figures appeared. They were tall, thin, and armed with blades that shimmered with deadly light. Their skin was pale gray, their eyes black like pits. Whisperers, assassins from the outer worlds, known for killing silently. One of them hissed, "Step aside, human. These treasures are not yours to guard." Marcus stood firm. His voice was calm but steady. "They are not mine, but they are not yours either." The assassins laughed quietly. Their voices echoed like broken glass. "Do you think you can stop us alone? You are human, weak, fragile. Step aside and live." Marcus did not move. His hand tightened on his weapon. He felt the weight of his choice. He could leave. Nobody would blame him. He could escape with his life. But his oath burned in his chest. His duty held him like iron chains. The alien mistress leaned forward in her hiding place. Her heart beat faster. She had wanted to test him with temptation, but now fate had brought a different trial. This was better than anything she could plan. Would the human betray his fear, or prove his worth? The first whisperer lunged. His blade cut the air with a hiss. Marcus blocked with his weapon. Sparks flew. The hall rang with the sound of metal. The other assassins circled, moving like shadows. Marcus fought with skill. His movements were sharp, simple, efficient. He did not waste energy. He fought not for glory, but for survival. His blade struck one assassin's arm. The alien hissed in pain, but did not fall. Still, Marcus knew the truth. He was outnumbered. He was slower, weaker. His enemy's blades were sharper. His breath grew heavy. Sweat touched his brow, but he did not move back. The mistress's eyes glowed with a strange light. She was silent, but inside, her thoughts burned. Why did he not run? Why did he not betray his oath? One assassin whispered, "Why fight for her? She is not your kind. She will never reward you. Take 1 gem and leave, you will be rich forever." Marcus's blade clashed again. His voice was low but strong. "I gave my word, and my word is not for sale." The assassins grew angry. Their movements faster. Their blades flashed like lightning. Marcus staggered. A cut marked his arm. Blood dripped down. Yet he did not drop his weapon. His eyes burned with steady fire. Every second felt endless. The treasures glowed brighter, casting strange shadows across the walls. The fight looked like a dance of death beneath alien light. Marcus's chest ached. His muscles screamed. His breath was rough. Still, he stood tall. The thought of leaving, of betraying, never entered his heart again. The mistress's cold smile softened for the first time. She felt something strange. Was it respect, or was it something else? She could not name it. Suddenly, the leader of the assassins pulled out a different weapon, a dark rod glowing with red light. It was no ordinary blade. It was a weapon that could shatter shields, a weapon even the mistress herself feared. Marcus froze for a moment. His body shook from exhaustion. His blood ran down his arm. He knew he could not fight this weapon with his simple blade. The assassin hissed, "This ends now, human. No one will remember your name." Marcus lifted his weapon again, his legs heavy, his body trembling, but his eyes burned with fire. The alien mistress leaned forward, her claws pressed against the stone wall. For the first time, she felt her own heart race. She had set a test of temptation, but now this had become a test of survival. The human stood between her treasures and death itself. Marcus breathed deeply. His mind was clear. He remembered the crown, the crystal, the whispers of temptation. He remembered that he had chosen loyalty over greed, and now he must choose. Again, would he fight until the end, even against impossible odds? The assassin raised the red weapon. Its glow lit the hall like fire. Marcus lifted his blade. His choice was clear. The alien mistress's eyes widened. She whispered softly in the, "Show me, human, show me what you are." And as the red weapon came down, Marcus roared and charged. The red weapon cut through the air like a streak of fire. Its glow painted the treasure hall in deadly light. Marcus lifted his blade. His arms shook. His body was heavy with pain, but he refused to fall back. The alien mistress watched from her hidden chamber. Her claws pressed tightly against the wall, her eyes burned with strange excitement. She had planned only to test him with temptation, yet fate had brought assassins. And now her human bodyguard faced death itself. The assassin's strike came. Fast, Marcus blocked, sparks exploded. The red weapon sent a burning shock through his arm. He stumbled but held his ground. His chest rose and fell with sharp breaths. His eyes glared with fire. The other two assassins moved in, circling like wolves. Their blades flashed, cutting at him from both sides. Marcus turned, blocking one, then twisting to strike at the other. The hall rang with the sound of clashing steel and glowing energy. He fought like a cornered lion. His strength was failing, but his spirit grew stronger. Every blow was a promise. He would not break his oath. The leader hissed, "You cannot."
"Win, human. Lay down your weapon. You are nothing but flesh and bone." Marcus's voice came out deep and steady. "Flesh and bone can still stand, and I will stand until my last breath."
The mistress's eyes widened at his words. She had heard many warriors speak, but none with such fire. The human did not fight for riches, not for power, but for loyalty alone. It was rare, dangerous, and powerful. The battle grew wilder. The assassins moved faster, their weapons cutting the air like lightning. Marcus's body was marked with wounds. His blood touched the stone floor. Still, he did not yield. He struck back, his blade finding one assassin's shoulder. The alien hissed in pain, falling back into the shadows, but the leader was not done. The red weapon hummed with deadly power. He lunged again, aiming at Marcus's chest. Marcus rolled aside, the blade cutting into the stone, leaving a deep, glowing scar. The treasures around them shimmered. The crystals pulsed brighter as if feeding on the chaos. The golden crowns glittered. With every strike, the relics glowed as though alive. The hall itself seemed to breathe with danger. Marcus's breath grew ragged. His muscles screamed. Yet in his heart he felt no fear. Only duty. Only fire. Then something strange happened. The assassins stepped back for a moment, whispering to each other. Their black eyes shifted. They realized the human would not break. He would fight until death, and death would not come easily. The leader hissed, "You are stronger than I thought, but loyalty is weakness. In the end, it will kill you." Marcus stood tall, his blade raised. His voice was steady. "If loyalty kills me, then I die with honor. But if betrayal rules me, I die already." The mistress's heart thudded in her chest. For the first time in years, she felt her breath catch. These words, this strength, it shook her. The assassins attacked again, faster than before. Marcus fought desperately. His body was battered, his arm was bleeding, his legs heavy, but his spirit burned brighter. He roared with each strike. He struck one assassin across the chest, sending him crashing into a pillar. The leader grew furious. His weapon glowed brighter, filling the hall with fire-red light. He raised it high, ready for a final blow that would cut the human in half. The mistress leaned forward, her claws digging into stone. Her eyes burned with something she had not felt in years. Fear. Fear not for herself, but for him. The assassin roared, "Die, human!" Marcus tightened his grip, his eyes sharp, his breath steady. He was ready. Even if death came, he would not move aside. The weapon came down, but before it struck, the hall shook. A deep rumble echoed through the stone. The treasures pulsed all. At once, light filled the chamber, bright and wild. The assassins froze, their black eyes wide. The relics were reacting. The mistress gasped softly. She had forgotten. Some of her treasures were alive. They did not allow chaos without answer. The crystals blazed with energy. The golden crown shimmered with fire. The silver blade sang with sound. The entire hall awakened. The assassin stepped back in shock. Marcus lowered his blade slightly, breathing hard. His eyes scanned the glowing treasures. The mistress whispered to herself in the shadows. "The vault has chosen." The assassins snarled, but fear touched their voices. They knew the hall was no longer safe. The relics were awake, and relics could be deadly. The leader growled, "This is not over, human. We will return." He signaled the others, and in a blur of shadows they vanished into the darkness, leaving the hall trembling with energy. Marcus dropped to one knee, his breath heavy. His wounds burned, but his grip on his blade did not loosen. He had survived. The alien mistress stepped back from her hidden wall. Her thoughts raced. The test had grown beyond her plan, and the human had faced it with strength she could not deny. He had resisted temptation. He had resisted fear. He had fought for treasures that were not his. Her lips curved into a slow, dangerous smile. For the first time in years, she felt true respect for another being. But her test was not finished. Not yet. As Marcus struggled to his feet, the hall lights dimmed. The treasures stopped glowing. The silence returned, but the air felt heavier, as though the relics had seen his soul and would never forget. The human wiped blood from his arm. His chest rose and fell. His eyes still burned. The mistress whispered in the shadows, "Now, human, the true test begins." The treasure hall smelled of smoke and blood. Marcus stood in the center, his blade heavy in his hand. His breath was rough, sweat covered his face, and cuts marked his arms. The assassins had fled, but their promise to return still echoed in his ears. The alien mistress watched from her hidden chamber. Her glowing eyes studied him closely. He was wounded, tired, yet still standing. Most guards would have fled. Others would have stolen. But this human stayed loyal. She felt something stir inside her, something she had not felt in centuries. Respect, curiosity, perhaps even trust. But she shook the thought away. One fight was not enough. She needed to see more. She needed proof. Without warning, the treasure hall trembled again. The relics had gone quiet, but now a strange hum filled the air. Marcus turned his head sharply. His grip tightened on his blade. Then flames erupted. Bright, violent fire roared from the far wall. The air grew hot. Smoke filled the chamber. Marcus coughed but did not retreat. From the fire stepped a new danger. Armored raiders, larger than the assassins, carrying weapons that spat burning light. These were not silent killers. They were war-band soldiers. Ruthless and loud, their leader shouted, "Take everything! Burn the hall if you must." The mistress's eyes narrowed. This was no illusion. These raiders had broken through her outer defenses. They wanted her treasures, and they had the power to destroy. Marcus raised his weapon again. His body was weak. His wounds burned. Yet he stepped forward, planting himself between the treasures and the invaders. His voice was steady. "You'll take nothing." The raiders laughed. Their leader sneered. "You are one man, one human. Do you think you can stop us?" Marcus stood tall. His chest lifted with each breath. His eyes did not waver. "I don't think I know." The battle exploded. Fire roared through the hall as weapons blazed. Marcus charged into the storm. His blade clashed against armored foes. Sparks flew. The sound of steel mixed with fire and screams. He fought like a storm. Every strike fueled not by strength but by loyalty. His arms ached. His wounds bled. But his spirit blazed brighter than the flames around him. He cut through one raider, blocked another's burning strike. His movements were raw, desperate, but unbreakable. The treasures glowed again, pulsing with energy. They seemed to answer his fire with their own. The hall filled with a strange light. Shadows danced wildly across the walls. The mistress watched, her claws curled tight. Her heart raced. He was not fighting for riches, not for life, but for loyalty alone. He defended her treasures as if they were his soul. The raiders grew furious. Their leader roared, "Burn him!" 2 soldiers fired their weapons together. Flames surged across the hall. Marcus was caught in the blast. His armor burned. Smoke rose from his body. He fell to one knee, his face twisted with pain. The mistress gasped softly. Her chest tightened. Would he fall now? Would the human finally break? But Marcus pushed against the fire. His blade lifted again, his voice roared through the hall. "I stand!" He charged once more, his body wrapped in smoke. His strikes came heavy, brutal, unstoppable. The raiders stepped back, shock in their black eyes. They had never seen a human fight with such fury. The leader snarled, rushing forward with a massive blade of fire. He struck at Marcus with all his strength. The clash shook the hall. Marcus's body bent under the force. His arms screamed with pain, but he did not fall. He pushed back, teeth clenched, eyes blazing. The mistress whispered in the shadows, "Loyalty and fire." Marcus twisted, breaking free of the strike. His blade cut across the leader's chest. The raider roared in pain, stumbling back into the flames. The other soldiers hesitated. For a moment, fear touched their hearts. This was no ordinary man. This was something else, something dangerous. But the fire spread. The hall grew hotter. Smoke filled every corner. The treasures pulsed wildly as if they too felt the chaos. The ceiling cracked, stones falling around them. Marcus staggered, his body weak, his lungs filled with smoke. He coughed, but his grip on the blade did not loosen. He would not leave, not while the treasures remained. The raiders began to retreat, pulling their wounded leader. They disappeared into the fire, shouting curses, promising to return. Marcus dropped to one knee again. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. His armor was burned, his skin marked with fire, but he was alive. The mistress stepped back from her wall, her eyes wide. She had seen loyalty before, but never like this. Never through fire, never through such pain. The human had proven himself beyond doubt. Still, she was not ready to reveal herself. Not yet. She wanted one more test, a final test. Marcus forced himself to stand, his body trembling. His blade still firm in his hand, he looked at the burning hall, at the treasures glowing in the smoke. His eyes held no greed, no fear, only duty. The mistress whispered softly, "You have passed the fire, but will you pass the heart?" As the flames began to die, the hall grew silent again. Marcus stood alone in the smoke, unaware that the greatest trial was still to come. The fire in the treasure hall finally died. Smoke curled toward the high ceiling. The floor was black with ash, and broken stones lay scattered across the ground. The treasures glowed faintly as if tired after the chaos. Marcus stood in the center. His body was marked with burns and cuts. His armor was cracked. His blade was chipped. Yet he still stood tall. His eyes were steady. His chest rose and fell with deep, heavy breaths. The alien mistress watched him from her hidden chamber. For so long she had doubted. She had planned this test to prove that humans were weak, greedy, and unworthy of her trust. But everything she had seen defied her beliefs. He had resisted temptation, he had resisted assassins, he had fought through fire, and now he stood, not broken but unyielding. Her heart was restless. Her sharp mind whispered that she had seen enough. It was time. She stepped from the shadows. The secret wall slid open with a low hum. For the first time that night, Marcus saw her, the alien. Mistress walked into the hall, her tall figure wrapped in flowing dark robes. Jewels shimmered across her arms and crown. Her eyes glowed like twin stars. Her presence filled the chamber with power. Marcus straightened, his hand gripped his blade tightly. He bowed his head slightly, but his eyes never left hers. He knew who she was, the true owner of the treasures, the one he was sworn to protect. Mistress studied him with sharp eyes. Her voice was calm, low, and dangerous. Human, you were tested tonight. Marcus said nothing. His breath was steady. He waited. She walked closer. Her steps echoed softly on the stone floor. Her eyes scanned the hall. The broken stones, the blood, the smoke. Then they returned to him. You could have stolen, she said, but you did not. You could have fled, but you did not. You faced blades, fire, and death itself, yet you still stood guard. Tell me why. Marcus's voice was deep, steady, and plain. Because I gave my word. The mistress tilted her head, her lips curved slightly. Your word. You risked your life, your body, for treasures that were not yours, for a mistress who may never reward you, for a galaxy that mocks your kind. Why? Marcus tightened his grip on his blade. His eyes burned with quiet fire. Because honor is not given by others, it is chosen, and I choose to keep mine. The mistress felt a strange weight in her chest. For centuries she had ruled through fear. She had seen betrayal, greed, and lies, but never words like these. Never such fire in a simple human. She circled him slowly, studying him as if he were one of her treasures. Loyalty is rare, she said softly. But tell me this. Marcus, would you protect me, not just my treasures? Would you stand for me even if I myself was the prize? Marcus's eyes flickered for a moment. He turned his head toward her, his face calm. If you were the treasure, mistress, then you would be safe. Because I do not protect things. I protect what I swear to guard. The hall grew silent. The air heavy. The treasures glowed faintly as if listening. The mistress stopped in front of him. Her eyes locked with his. She searched his soul, trying to find weakness, greed, or fear, but she saw none. For the first time in centuries, she felt something break inside her armor of pride. It was not weakness. It was not doubt. It was something she had almost forgotten. Trust. She stepped closer, her voice softer now, almost like a whisper. Then hear me, human. My treasures were never gold or blades or crystals. My true treasure is loyalty. My true test was not if you could guard the riches, but if you could guard my heart. Marcus's grip loosened on his blade. His eyes softened. He bowed his head slightly. His voice was low. Then you already know my answer. The mistress felt her chest tighten. For the first time, she allowed herself to smile. A real smile, not cold, not cruel, but quiet. But before, the silence could settle. The hall shook once more. A low rumble echoed through the stone walls. Dust fell from the ceiling. The treasures pulsed with light again, stronger than before. Marcus looked around sharply. His blade lifted again. The mistress narrowed her eyes, her voice turned cold once more. The night is not over, the final trial begins. The ground cracked beneath their feet. Flames sparked from the walls. The air grew heavy with energy. The treasures glowed as if alive. The hall itself seemed to awaken again. The mistress's voice rose, deep and powerful. You stood against greed, you stood against blades, you stood against fire. Now, human, will you stand against destiny? Marcus's eyes hardened. His blade shone in the pulsing light. His voice came firm and steady. If destiny comes, I will guard you from it too. The hall roared with light and sound. The final test was rising from the shadows. The treasure. Hall shook like thunder. The ground split with cracks of light. The treasures pulsed wildly. Their glow filled the chamber with strange colors. The air grew heavy, alive, dangerous. Marcus stood firm, his blade lifted. His body was battered, his wounds still burned, but his eyes were sharp, steady. He had survived temptation, blades, and fire. Now the hall itself rose against him. The alien mistress raised her hand. Her voice echoed through the chamber, strong and dark. This is the last test, human. The treasures awake to judge you. They will see your soul. If you are false, they will consume you. If you are true, they will accept you. Marcus's jaw tightened. He did not fear the words. His voice was steady. Then let them see. The ground cracked wider. From the light rose a shape, a giant figure made of glowing stone and fire. Its body burned like living crystal, its eyes blazed red. It was not alive, not dead. It was the guardian of the hall. The mistress's eyes narrowed. She had seen this guardian before. It appeared only when the relics felt threatened. It had destroyed armies. It had crushed kings. Now, it stood before Marcus. The guardian roared. Its voice was thunder. The hall shook. Stones fell from above. Marcus tightened his grip on his blade. His chest lifted with a deep breath. He was only human, small before the giant. But he would not run. The creature swung its massive arm. Fire and light trailed behind. Marcus leaped aside, the floor cracking. Where the strike landed, heat burned his skin. He rolled and rose again, his blade ready. The mistress watched with sharp eyes. Her chest tight, she told herself this was the test, that she wanted to see the truth, but inside, she felt something else. Fear. Not fear for herself, but for him. Marcus charged. His blade cut against the guardian's leg. Sparks exploded. The stone cracked but did not break. The giant turned, roaring. Its hand swept forward, smashing Marcus into a pillar. The air burst with dust. The mistress stepped forward. Her claws twitched. Her heart raced. For a moment she almost called out, almost ordered the guardian to stop. But she bit her tongue. This was the test. He had to face it. Marcus groaned. His body screamed with pain. He forced himself to stand again. His legs heavy, his vision blurred. Yet his blade lifted once more, his eyes still burned. The guardian raised its arms. Fire gathered in its chest. A beam of burning light shot across the hall. Marcus dived, rolling across the floor. The beam smashed into the wall, leaving molten stone. His chest heaved, his skin burned, but he pushed forward, striking again. His blade cut deep into the glowing chest. The guardian staggered, but its fire only grew brighter. The treasures pulsed in rhythm with the fight. Their light filled the chamber. The hall seemed alive, watching, judging, Marcus shouted. His voice filled the hall. I will not fall. I gave my word. My life belongs to my duty. The guardian roared back. Its fist came down. Marcus raised his blade. Steel met stone. The impact shook the hall. His arms trembled. His knees bent. But he did not break. The mistress's eyes widened. Her lips parted, she whispered, He is still standing. Marcus pushed with all his strength. His blade blazed with the reflection of the treasures, his roar echoed, and with one final strike, he drove his blade deep into the guardian's chest. Light exploded, the guardian staggered, cracks spread across its body. Then it shattered into a storm of glowing dust. The hall fell silent. Marcus dropped to one knee, his blade shaking in his hand. His chest rose and fell with ragged breath, his body broken, but his spirit unbroken. The treasures glowed softly, their light calm, gentle. They had seen his soul. They had judged him true. The alien mistress stepped forward, her robes brushing across the stone. For the first time she stood before him openly, her voice softer now, but filled with power. You have passed every trial, human. You faced greed and turned away. You faced blades and fire and did not fall. You faced the guardian and did not break. Tell me, Marcus, why do you still stand? Marcus lifted his head, his eyes tired but steady, his voice low. Because you trusted me. Even if it was a lie, I chose to make it true. Because loyalty is not a gift. It is my choice. The mistress felt her chest tighten. Her eyes softened. For the first time in centuries, her voice trembled. Then hear me, Marcus, you are no longer just a guard. You are my shield. My ally. My true treasure. The hall glowed brighter. The treasures shimmered as if agreeing. The silence was filled with a strange warmth. Marcus lowered his blade. His chest lifted, his lips curved with the faintest of smiles. He bowed his head. Then I will protect you, mistress. Not your gold, not your jewels, you. The mistress stepped closer. Her eyes burned with a light that was not only power, but trust, perhaps even more. She whispered, Then let the galaxy see. The human who passed the mistress's test. But before peace could settle, a distant sound echoed through the ruined hall. The deep hum of engines, the shadows of new ships filling the sky above. The mistress turned her head sharply. Her eyes narrowed, her voice cold once more. The galaxy has heard already, Marcus, and now it comes for us both. Marcus rose, blade in hand, his eyes steady, his voice strong. Then let them come. We will stand together. The hall darkened. The treasures pulsed. The final battle was only beginning.